Dr. Sunday, one of the greatest sins in Nigeria is stealing from the poor. The Bible hates stealing from the poor. When you are given a contract to tar a road and you don't tar that road, you are stealing from the poor. When you are given money to buy medicines for hospitals for the poor and you do not buy those drugs, or you buy only 10% or 20% of the actual amount of drugs needed, you are stealing from the poor. But you see, all those people stealing from the poor still come to church and are given first-class seats in front of the pulpit because they are the highest tithers, that they give the most in offering. And maybe because they do not fornicate or commit adultery, those sins that everybody knows are sins. The fact that they sin those sins that Nigeria accepts, there are some sins that are accepted.
In Nigeria, the only sin that is a sin is those smoking, drinking, and adultery. So only three sins. But you are talking about members of the church who steal from the poor. But let's now go back to that same Malachi chapter 3 that my colleagues, my pastors like to quote. You have just made a point that stealing from the poor is the most horrible sin in God's eyes. God detests it. God is not happy for it. And that is the reason why God mentioned the word curse. Because the people who are in verse 5, you will see the people who are in charge, the leaders who are in authority, they are the ones who are supposed to distribute, take the tithe and distribute. In the Old Testament, in the New Testament, no tithe. But in the Old Testament, they are supposed to bring the tithe into the church, take 10% of the tithe for themselves, that is the Levites and the priests, only 10th of the tithe, and then the 9th of the tithe, give to the widows, give to the orphans, give to the strangers, give to the poor, and make a feast for them. So God got very angry that the whole nation, not all countries, so he's talking about just one nation of Israel. The whole nation is under a curse. Now a curse, God didn't say I curse you. He's just saying that all the calamity you see around, all the problems you see around, they are causes, because they are consequences. That word cause, they are like consequences. What is the sin they have seen? You have robbed me. He didn't say you have robbed me by going to heaven and going to my bank in heaven and taking money. No, you have robbed me when you rob these widows. You have robbed me when you rob these orphans. Whenever you rob these orphans, you have robbed me. Because that's exactly the same thing Jesus repeated. When Jesus came, he said, if you don't do this to the least of this, you didn't get, I was hungry, you didn't feed me, I was naked, it is me you are robbing, and then you are going to hell. The same thing God was talking about in Malachi 3, that you have robbed these people, the widows, the orphans, you are robbing me. He was talking not to the members, he was talking to the leadership of the nation and the priests. They are the ones who are under curse.
No. You see, they read the Bible, they take 2 verses of the Bible and they form a doctrine. You see, sometimes I look at these pastors in awe. They are magicians.
Yeah.
How can you take what happened? Why was that Malachi 3:10 written? Have you studied what happened when Nehemiah became in charge and was quarreling with the people and tried to institute the laws back again? Did you go through all that study to see what led eventually to Malachi 3:10? No.
You said they are.
All they want.
You said they are.